your background, Professor Attila?
Yeah, so I'm a professor of mathematics, and my research areas are in complex variables and algebraic geometry.
Mm-hmm.
I have been the chair of the Department of Mathematics since 2007, and so during our tenure as a chair, we have seen significant different changes in the department.
Mm-hmm.
We are moving towards a, a highly entrepreneurial computer science and mathematics program
Mm-hmm.
where innovation and entrepreneurial thinking is inculcated in the mindset of students. When we want to graduate students who are not seeking jobs but
Mm-hmm.
who are creators of jobs, who are leaders, who can reverse engineer, who can think, and who can be able to be a part of an economic engine that this region needs.
Mm-hmm.
The Chicago State University, in my view, is the cultural, economic, and the scholarship epicenter of the south side of Chicago. We are the driving force of innovation, of uplifting these communities in which we live. Our role models are actually one chief minister of the Andhra Pradesh state. Due to him, entire nations were lifted out of poverty. IT was used. The computer science is used to uplift.
Could you please you use an example with what is the gentleman's name again? I want to make sure.
The gentleman is the chief minister of the state of Andhra Pradesh. Let me write it down for you.
Yes, Chief Minister, and in the state of
Andhra Pradesh,
are we speaking
India.
another country?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Andhra Pradesh. That's the state.
Okay, that's the state.
The state of Andhra
Uh-huh.
Pradesh.
Okay.
So the point is, they were able to use computer science, or more broadly IT,
Mm-hmm.
to uplift entire nations out of poverty.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
we would like to use the same models, same ideas, and with appropriate adaptations to uplift the south side communities of the greater south side communities of Chicago, the greater communities. So when we look at the greater community, all the urban areas surrounding here,
Mm-hmm. Not
There
just
are-
between King Drive and
Yeah.
Cottage Grove. We want to
Greater
expand.
community.
Yeah. Okay.
I think there are a larger number of African Americans than in the entire state of Mississippi. It's a very large number. But when you think of the number of students who are graduating with a computer science degree from the state of Illinois, from state government universities, it's very, very small. Its numbers runs around between 30 to 40 per year. That's a negligible number. So with that so if you ask, give me one compelling reason why these communities are not progressing at par with other American minority communities, I am going to venture the statement because they are not graduating enough students in computer science and mathematics. If you can solve that problem, then automatically the rest of the problems will be solved. Because when you acquire these skill sets and become professionals in this area, then it comes with great financial benefit and problem solving skill sets. So there, the communities, or if you have to understand that the solutions, intractable problems, solutions to intractable problems
Mhm.
are best solved by the people in those communities. They are the people who have first-hand experience the problems, and they are the people who can come up with innovative solution to those problems. That we have seen over and over again. You can see the progress of countries that got independence from Britain.
Mhm.
You see the progress in the last 100 years compared to the colonial years. You
Mhm.
can see the immense progress.
Absolutely.
Okay, so there is no
in
question.
a short period of time.
And the very short period of time, because the people became free and they are inherently capable, and then they were able to solve problems. Okay, now during the British Raj, how many famines were in India? But but after independence, there was nothing. There's no famine. Same country, same people. So you need to see you have to liberate the people, and the liberators are within the community.
You said the liberators are
Within the community.
within the community. So, when you say, it's my understanding that the Innovation Lab is an endeavor to have students think critically, have a space to incubate ideas, but also to do exactly what you were saying, this entrepreneurial spiritual in just having the opportunity.
Let me put this in a more fundamental way.
Please. Thank you.
The success of leaders, if you ask leaders why are they successful, what are the most fundamental beliefs that a leader should possess in order to be successful, is the belief in the people that he or she serves. You must believe in the people. If you don't really believe in the inherent capabilities of the population that you are leading, you'll not be a successful leader. So you have to believe that the communities that we serve are competent, they will be successful, but you need to bring about those latent capabilities in the students. That's what we come across in the students. Bring out their latent capabilities. Now, are we just talking, or are we talking from experience? So we have Innovation Center, and we work very closely with certain universities in India. They also have built innovation centers. And in their model, they came up with a thesis. Industrial partnership, exposure to industrial partnerships will make even an average student a much better student. So somebody in the 50th percentile can go up to the 80th, 90th percentile when exposed to industrial experience. That has been demonstrated. It's not a slogan. It's practically has been done and shown. So what we thought is, go more broader. Do not cover yourself for industrial experience, but think of a infrastructure. So it means infrastructure means physical space and the environment, which enables the individual's latent capabilities to be mined. So it's like data mining. You go and there are iron cores in the earth, you go and mine them and bring them out and make products. So likewise, the capabilities, you must believe that the community you serve has those capabilities. That's the first and the fundamental belief of the leader. Then you can create the environment, physical infrastructure, financial infrastructure, so on and so forth, to mine that latent capability and bring it out and flourish. That's the nutshell what the Innovation Center is about.
You use an analogy about data mining and the individual latent capability of
latent
students,
capabilities that are in the students. So
of
students
which you
latent,
have to
latent
kind of mine that out of us.
Mine out of us, yes. So the latent capabilities are the experience, whatever the experience you get, positive, negative, you come across a intractable problem, simple problem, impediments, all of them are recorded in your mind. You may not know it, you may not see it out, but they are in the mind. The mind is the sixth faculty. So now it is in the mind and it's percolating in the mind, and the human intelligence generally try to find ways out of it. So if the people are not free, physical constraints, financial constraints, mental constraints, and the worst kind, you are not capable. You are an idiot. You can't do this. You're not made for this. You're made for that. Are the most insidious constraints you can put on an individual.
We spoke to Professor Lasabio Ken about that, about how the mind.
You have to free the mind. Once the mind is freed, that is why the environment is set up in a friendly environment with like-minded individuals. We are non-judgmental. But we don't allow you to come here and blabber. There is a process by which you are inducted into the community in which is thinking about an issue. So in order for you to come and get your mind out and your capabilities to be mined out, you still has to go through a process and show capabilities. So you cannot just let everybody come here and have fun. It'll be uncontrollable. It won't have any.
I like the idea of having to roar or having a passion and having that looked at of the board, let's say, or other people in the innovation lab, members of the innovation lab, monitoring other people's roars so that you can be allowed to be more selective, I think is what you're saying, as far as who's allowed in the innovation lab, or how we pick members.
Everyone cannot be allowed, so that even though we put in the lowest denominator, so by that what we mean is Professor Mehta very correctly and ingeniously identified,
I think so too,
that we are not going to replicate Harvard Innovation Center, UIC Innovation Center, University of Chicago Innovation Center at Chicago State. What you see in Chicago State is organic, it's germane to the Chicago State, and is born out, created, flourished, nurtured by the faculty or the Department of Mathematics and Computer Science at Chicago State University. It is Chicago State University product. So how do we differentiate from others? You can see in the way of presentation, which has analogs to other entities, but there are elements of it which has no analog.
Okay.
Now, to go to the Harvard Innovation Center, they say, where's your business plan? You will not get in here without a business plan. So you think about this, that is way ahead of this student entrepreneurial thinking in which we are inculcated. So what we say is, we don't want to see a business plan, but we want you to be able to articulate, but first of all, you must have, in the language of Professor Mehta, a burning idea. Well, some people will say, you must have passion, you must be able to articulate. Unless you're able to articulate, you have not thought about it. Okay? So idea could be percolating in your head. It could be, but still nonetheless, in order to get the gain of entrance into this temple, you need to be able to articulate an idea. Now, we help you to bring it. I mean, it's a nurturing process in which we are not going to kick you out. We don't have it, but
right.
You have to go through a process. You have to enter it. But then once you have articulated, now you are in the temple. Okay, now you are a member of the innovation lab.
Yes, I think that's quite brilliant because in order to get any idea articulated, there is a process here where it has to start, and you have to have a space to incubate it because
That's
many
right.
of us, even with the general population at CSU, period, we don't even have a space to express our thoughts, let alone an idea that
Yes.
we want to.
Yeah, so
Make it a
express the
business.
thoughts in an interdisciplinary manner in the presence of your peers of many a discipline. So, of course, if you are, let's say, in a class in philosophy, you certainly are in a class in philosophy, class in political science, you do express your ideas, but it is limited to the subject under discussion, and listeners are listening and evaluating it from that prism of the subject. Now it's a interdisciplinary, his idea is evaluated on his merit only, not whether it fits into mathematics, whether it fits into biology or no. Okay, so whatever you say is taken out of the discipline in which it's presented and viewed in the context of the problem by itself. So I'm not going to come up with a mathematical solution. I'm not thinking when you're given the problem, I'm not going to come up with, I'm not preordained to come up with a mathematical solution. I'm not come up with a biological solution. We want to come up with a workable solution.
We know that math and computer science is a very static, straightforward discipline.
Ma'am, that is the only discipline in the world. The mathematics is central to human thinking. Okay, there is no human thinking without mathematics. So
Very well stated.
there is no divorce of mathematical thinking from the innovation center. It doesn't matter what other people think or
You
what
say
they
math is the.
It is the queen of sciences. It is the driving force, and that's what it is, and that's what it will be.
Always.
Right.
So you don't believe that that there is a fear as far as the lack of. I'm not saying that mathematics lacks humanity, because I don't think it is as strict a science, as people say it is. Otherwise, we would not be able to innovate mathematically. There has to be room for human interaction as well as the technological interaction. And I would just like a few thoughts due to the fact that the mathematics computer science along with the innovation lab is building this
So
master
the question
supercomputer.
is,
Yes.
what is mathematical thinking, right? So when you and why is mathematics so successful, or what in the words of Eugene Wegner, unreasonably successful in every human endeavor? The reason is the transportability of the techniques of mathematics. What is mathematics is all about modeling change, understanding, predicting change in any possible entity. So then the most powerful technique of mathematics is abstract thinking. So you should be able to observe an entity and see how it is changing. Okay, I use the word change because fundamental to the humankind is the concept that everything is impermanent. Everything is changing all the time. And that change, depending upon the entities, are context driven. When you look at it, when you look at a certain entity, you see a context in which it is given. Okay, so you look at the stock market. I'm looking at a stock, the price of a stock. I'm looking at temperature is changing. So there is a context driven. Okay? And what mathematics has succeeded in doing is removing the context. So I'm saying I'm looking at temperature. I'm looking at a price of a stock. Price of a stock is context. Temperature measured in a thermometer is a context. What is not context is that a real number is used to represent the price of a stock or the temperature of this room. So mathematics has succeeded in synthesizing from the entities what is what you call abstract, context-free interpretations. And that is the most powerful, potent thinking of mathematics. So that has enabled people to let mathematics is essentially a mind-driven exercise, whereas the experience of your 5 faculties is inherently tied to the physical world in which we are in. Right?
Correct.
That experience and the mind can divide itself from the physical entities in which we live in. You can put your mind in a, say, 5-dimensional space, 7-dimensional space, and the mathematical entities you build has no reality within the constraints among the physical spaces, time spaces in which we live in. So the mathematics is the ultimate free thinking. So if you ask, what is the difference between an artist and a mathematician? The artist is still bound to the world in which you live in. You have to make a sculpture, you have to do whatever it is still bound to the world you live in. Mathematician is free. So I can think of a n-dimensional space, 4-dimensional, 5, I can think of surfaces in 8-dimensional spaces, which of course there is no 8-dimensional physical space to live in. So mathematics is the key of liberating the humankind. And from the inputs that you're getting from the 5 senses. And in that thinking will lie true liberation, removing yourself from the from the 5 senses.
Okay, I have one last question, or any other thoughts you'd like to add. Again, I say we only, Professor Anil has us in a very static newsletter state, but I'll be sure to send you a test email to see what you think if we got your point in the newsletter. Is STEM the new religion? There's a thought that a lot of times when we have these new innovations or people jump on this bandwagon or they jump on that bandwagon, like they want all the children in preschool to start out on STEM versus, you know what I mean, how America has these crazes.
That's
my last
for me, question. I don't think that you can ever not think of psychology. You cannot not think of history, geography, because the human experience is a vast knowledge that has to be analytically examined, right? With the data analytics, you have to examine the human history, because it will enable us not to make mistakes, previously make mistakes, and also to think of paths that are the most optimal path in order to prosecute a certain vision. So I would say that if you are going to focus only on STEM to the exclusion of humanities, that will be a fundamental mistake. You cannot do that. That will not be a hallmark of a successful country.
So
you must have a emphasis on science. Means first of all scientific thinking, logical thinking, coming to conclusion based on the evidence before you. Right? Those are traits of the scientific thinking.
We have a model.
We must, if you don't have the moral of telling the truth, all those thinking based on scientific will go away. Because if somebody will come up and say utterly false statements and present them as a truth,
Mm-hmm.
the scientific model is made to come and deduce from that given information.
Mm-hmm.
That will go completely out of whack. So the religious order brings morality.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Things like, as fundamental as telling the truth. I cannot ever imagine a society in which you don't have those. You have to be moral people, right?
Absolutely.
You have to be moral. It doesn't mean you have to be fearing anything.
Mm-hmm. There's.
We have to be moral people. We have to do the right thing. And scientific thinking is not about doing the right thing. That's not it. What is right, that's societal, cultural, religious is a huge different thing.
And we here at Chicago State University, by way of the Innovation Lab, our objective is to have a blending, not necessarily interdisciplinary.
It's a well blending. It's about, to me, it's about freeing the mind. You are free.
All right.
Okay, so the preamble to the federal constitution talks about freedom. Fundamental is you're free. You're a think. This is a space, inviting space in the language of Professor Mehta, where you are free to think. The most fundamental human right.
Mm-hmm.
You must be able to think, and you must be able to express it, and you must, even if you be able to profit from it.
Great thing about America. We can close out with this interview, but I have a question because, and then we're going to wrap up and run back to the lab.
Mm-hmm.
This won't be on the interview.